Hi, besties. Welcome back to the Bestie Talk podcast. I am your host, Kianna Jit, and I am so excited to be back filming. I know I went a little MIA last week. You guys are probably like, where the hell did she go? I just had so much going on, y'all. Last Saturday was my husband's grand opening of his new location for his record store. And that whole week, y'all, we were literally just living, breathing records. And I was beat. I was going like a whole week, probably sleeping 4 hours a day each day. So I was so exhausted. And something about me with the podcast, if I'm not 100, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to like force myself because I don't feel like it's authentic, and you guys deserve to hear an authentic ass podcast. So that is why I took like a tiny little break. Today we're back. We're better than ever. I am refreshed. I have finally gotten some rest. If you're watching on YouTube, you might see my little doggies. I don't know if you guys can see them or not, but I have my little girl Yorkie right next to me on my left. That's Nyla, and my little mini poodle, that's Toby, on my right. So if you see them, say hi. They're really cute. They're really spiritual. They love the Bestie Talk podcast. But no, they're here today. So I have my little babies with me. But I'm really excited for today's episode because it is something that I talk a lot about, and I realized that I never really talked about it on the podcast, and that's on timing. Timing is so important, and I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of timing and how it has a direct correlation with divine alignment, as well as rejection. Rejection is literally protection, y'all. So I'm going to talk about all of that today. I'm going to talk about how rejection is protection, how I'm going to reframe your mind to stop you from thinking all the time about how you were rejected in life, or you were rejected from a job or from school or from a guy or whatever the case may be, and how it was so upsetting to you. But we're going to reframe your mind. We're going to make you realize that it was actually protection, how the universe is not working against you. It is working for you, even when you are getting rejected. Okay. The universe, God, whoever you want to say, is working for you, even when you're getting rejected. Yes, I know. It's kind of mind blowing to even think that, because you're like, what the hell? No, I'm getting rejected. It's something I want, something I think I need, and I'm not getting it. How can that be the universe working towards me or working for me? I'm going to teach you today in today's episode. So let's get our pens and papers out. We are going to school. All right, before I even get into today's episode fully, I want to tell you guys about a story about one of the more recent times where I have dealt with rejection on a very big, grand level, and how it really helped me reframe my mind when it came to rejection. And I want to talk about a time where I met one of my quote unquote heroes. When I met somebody that I looked up to, when I thought they were exactly where I want to be in my life. And that is this huge podcaster. He is somebody that I really looked up to, as a really big podcaster, really big self-help podcaster, and how I truly got so rejected and got humbled the fuck down, but it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. I had a friend, and I went to go see this podcaster live, and I was so excited to see them, and I really put all of us out there, and I quite literally shot our shot. I was like, look, we'll give you a reading after the show as our gift. And he took us up on it. And I was so excited. I was like, this is my opportunity. This is my shot to be able to get some insight from the one person that I look up to so much in this career, and somebody that is doing something exactly that I want to be doing for the rest of my life. Like, this is it. Like, this is my moment, y'all. I was so excited. I was so happy. I was like, wow, nobody could tell me shit. Okay. So we went back there, we did the thing, and I was so excited. And he barely gave me the time of day, y'all. He looked at the other people that I was with and he chose them before he even looked at me. He didn't acknowledge me. He barely acknowledged me in person, but let alone after the fact, was following everyone and he liking, commenting, interacting with them, getting more readings and all of that. And it truly broke my heart. I was so upset. I spent months, I'm not even going to lie, I spent months crying. I was like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to do a podcast. I'm not good enough to do readings. Like, I'm just not good enough. Like, oh my God, it was so upsetting. I was so heartbroken, to be honest, by this rejection that I experienced because, I'm with my husband. I don't have to deal with rejection on a love level, but this was probably the next closest thing. I take podcasting, I take helping people so seriously, and to meet my idol that does the same exact thing and does what I want to do for the rest of my life, and they quite literally didn't give me the time of day, was so heartbreaking. And y'all, little did I know, it was seriously the biggest form of protection that could have ever happened to me, you guys. Now, looking back, I am like, thank God he didn't pay any attention to me. Thank God he did not, want readings from me. Thank God he did not want to teach me. He didn't want to guide me. He didn't want to be anything to do with me because now I don't want anything to do with him. Now I see who he really is. Now I see who this person really is. And now I see all this fakeness. Now I see who this person truly is and how the person that they portray online isn't real and it isn't authentic. And now I see that they would have used and exploited me just like they use and exploit the people that he did choose in that scenario. And it seriously helped me reframe my whole mind when it comes to rejection. So I wanted to share that story with you guys so you know where I'm coming from. I've been there. I've done that. I've felt the pits of fucking rejection. I have felt that I am not worthy. I am not enough. Feeling the crying, the not understanding, the questioning of your self-worth, all of that. I have felt it all, y'all. And that is how I have been able to come back from that. I have the street credit. Okay. I quite literally have the street credit to be able to teach you guys and be able to tell you guys that rejection is just a form of protection. And we got to reframe our mind a little bit. I want you guys to ask yourself this question before we really get into the podcast. Okay. What if the things that hurt you the most were actually not punishment, but they were actually protection? Every single thing that has happened in your life that you cry about and has caused trauma and you feel rejected and you feel not enough, of all of those things that you are hurt by weren't actually punishment or weren't actually because you quote unquote weren't good enough, but it was actually because there is some higher power that is protecting you from everything you don't see. Just take a minute and think about that for a second before we actually get into the episode, because if that is the case, let's be hypothetical here. If that is actually the case, that's what divine is doing, then what does that mean for everything else? That means that there has never truly been something that you were quote unquote not good enough, but it just means that there is something way better for you out there and there's a bigger picture. Okay. And the thing about rejection and divine timing is that they work together. What doesn't happen for you or what doesn't choose you or who doesn't choose you is actually part of a bigger plan. I'm going to talk a little bit about another scenario where I dealt with rejection and timing. And that was when I was finding my second location for my salon. I was dead set on the fact that I wanted to move from my first location in downtown. And so I set out to start looking for places. I found 2 different locations in downtown that I loved. I fell in love with the first one. It was amazing. I loved it so much. And I wasn't wasn't chosen. And I was so upset about it. I was distraught. I was like, what the hell? Whatever. I'll move on to the next one. Second one comes around. And this one, even better. I love it so much. It's bigger. It's, oh my God, it's perfect downtown. Cool. Everything's cool. And we are getting deep into the process of getting an actual storefront. If you're not a business owner, it takes a lot to be able to actually get a location. There's a lot of steps that you have to go through in order to get that location. And we were deep in it, y'all. We were like maybe one step left and it was mine. I had the keys in my hand. And I was so excited. I was over the moon. I was like, yes, this is perfect. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. And I got a text from the owner and he said, we are choosing somebody else. Your mission, your business plan, your business in itself is not something we are interested in. And it hit such a wound of mine of you're not good enough, of the kind of being singled out, of the bullying wound. I mean, it hit so many different things, you guys. And I was so upset. I was distraught. I was mad at the universe. I was mad at, God. I was mad at everybody because I was like, why aren't my manifestations coming true? I've literally been manifesting this. Why is it not working out for me? Why is this not happening for me? This is something that I want so bad. This is something I've been wanting for a really long time. And little did I know that the reason why it wasn't happening, and I was so angry that the universe, I felt like wasn't working for me. I felt like the universe was working against me. It was actually working in overtime. The universe was literally working behind my back in overtime, finding me an even better place at an even greater deal, okay, way better price, and I barely had to do anything. It fell right on my lap. And the person that helped me get it got me so many different perks within my lease, within my agreement, that there is no way that other places would have ever given me what this one has gave me. And now being on the other side, I see, well, no wonder I didn't get those places because they weren't meant for me, because there was something so much bigger, so much better on the other side that I could not see. So I want you to understand that, again, rejection, we said it already, rejection is a form of protection. If I were to have gotten into those spaces, there could have it could have not worked out. There could have been things that I didn't see. Those buildings that I wanted that were in downtown, one has been literally, I'm not even kidding you guys, crashed into, I don't know how many times. That would have been my business that would have been crashed into. And there would have been girls sitting right there where they got crashed into. There's so many other things that would have happened that I didn't know at the time was a danger to me. But here I'm so much more safe. It's a way better deal, all of that, right? But also timing. Okay. Because at that moment when I was looking for the location, just because I decide I'm ready for it doesn't mean that I'm actually ready for it. Doesn't mean that that's when it's supposed to come to be and that's when the universe is going to give me what I want. Just because you think you're ready for something doesn't mean you're actually ready for it. Timing is everything. I thought I was ready to be a bigger salon owner. I was like, let's go. I'm ready for it. But I was not. I needed a couple more months to get my shit more in order, to save a little bit more, to handle whatever I needed to handle. And then it came a little bit more down the road. And so that is the same thing that goes for you guys. There is going to be things that you feel you are ready for. How many times I have seen and heard people say, yeah, I want a baby. I want children. And it's not happening right now. I'm not really sure why. But then later down the road, it happens quickly or it happens easily. My mom, for example, to have me, my mom struggled. Okay. It was not easy for me to come into this earth. There was a lot of things that were stacked against me, that were stacked against my mom, both spiritually, physically, medically, everything. The odds were stacked against me. Okay. But she made it happen. Now here I am with all odds against me. Later down the road, 10 years later, they told my mom, first of all, after she had me, that she was not going to be able to have a child easily. She was not going to be able to have a child by accident. It was always going to have to be through some type of intervention, whether it's IVF or artificial insemination, whatever the case may be. She was not going to be able to have a natural conception. And 10 years down the line, guess what happens? She has a oopsie and she has my little brother. She gets pregnant completely natural, completely by herself. No intervention was needed. I think it was literally an accident. Okay. When I say divine timing is important, it is important. He was supposed to come into this world. He was supposed to be there then in that moment. She was supposed to get pregnant. That's what was supposed to happen. And it's all with divine timing. Okay. With learning about timing and learning about rejection also comes patience. When you are actually learning to really understand, divine timing and rejection is protection, you also learn patience. I think they go hand in hand a lot of the time. And when I learned patience with all of this, I started to approach everything in my life, but specifically my goals, with a lot more peace and faith. When I started to have more patience is when I started to go after my goals more calmly, more organized. I had more of an idea of exactly what I wanted. I knew the steps that I needed to take. I knew when something was meant for me, it'll come to me. What is not meant for me is something that I don't need to force myself. I don't need to force myself to fit into a spot that I don't fit in, because that usually means it's not meant for me. If something comes easily, if something happens, I feel it authentically, it feels easy to do it. There's something that's coming to the Bestie Talk podcast very soon that I'm really, really excited about, but it's something that came really naturally. It's something that I didn't even realize I was already doing before I decided to offer it to the public and before I got confirmation from my spirit guides and everything. It was something that I was already doing. And when things like that happen, that's how you know they are meant for you. That's how you know that that is something that you are supposed to do. If it is something that you are constantly trying to do and it's just not fitting, it's just not working, you're always getting pushback, it's not fitting in the spot that you're trying to make it fit in, then that is your sign that it is not for you. And that is where you need to learn the patience and understanding, again, that rejection is protection. Another example about timing that I talk about a lot, especially to my friends who are younger, or maybe people who are comparing themselves a lot to other people their age, especially when it comes to love. In my late teens and early 20s, everyone around me was getting engaged, was getting married, was moving in with their partner, was getting pregnant, all of that stuff, especially people that got into their relationship around the same time I got into my relationship with my now husband. And I used to compare myself all the time. I used to get so upset about that we weren't at that spot, that we weren't talking about moving in together. We weren't talking about engagements. We weren't talking about getting pregnant. We weren't talking about those things. And I wanted them so bad because I was just seeing everybody else having them and I wanted it too. Little did I know, it was truly one of the biggest blessings in disguise, because me and my husband got to truly know each other without having to force each other into a small setting. We didn't have to do it under stress. We moved in together patiently. We ended up getting such a great deal with the apartment that we had for our very first place. It was something that was so divinely guided. It was something that was so safe. It was something that was so sacred. But if I would have forced our hand, if I would have said, nope, we're moving in, we're getting engaged, we're getting pregnant, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want, my husband probably would have done it because he wants to make me happy. But that would not have given us the life that we have now. Now we understand each other on a different level because we didn't have to learn to understand each other under so much pressure and under so much stress of having all these bills, of having a baby, of having a stress of a wedding. Now we got to truly get to know each other without any pressure, without any stress. And that is divine timing. We let divine take the lead. We let whatever the universe, whatever you want to call it, take the lead, and we followed within faith that it was going to work out. And honey, it worked out. Now a lot of those relationships that were getting married, that were having babies, that were moving in really quickly, let me tell you, a lot of them ain't together. Okay. A lot of them are really unhappy. A lot of them are really miserable, and it's because they had all of this stress in the beginning of a relationship where it is so important to not have that amount of stress because you're so young, you don't understand a lot of things, and you're specifically putting the stress on you that you didn't need to put on yourself in the first place. So divine timing is something that I take very seriously. It's something that I have seen in my life time and time again. I can look back in my life and see how many times the universe was on time, because let me tell you something, baby. The universe is never late. The universe comes when it's supposed to come. The universe delivers when it is supposed to deliver. It is never, ever late. It will happen when it is supposed to happen. Okay. I promise you that there has never, ever been a time in my life where I have said the universe could have gave me this a long time ago. The universe could have did this for me a long time ago. No, because now I know I needed to be in this spot that I am at right now to be able to accept whatever the universe gave me. I know now that I have the maturity to handle whatever the universe is giving me right now, whether it's good or bad, because now I have dealt with the lessons. I have learned the lessons. I have learned everything that I've gone through to be able to handle whatever the universe is going to throw at me. When I got rejected by that huge podcaster that I talked about in the beginning, it taught me a lot. Like, it taught me a lot, a lot, a lot. But one of the main things that it taught me is that no matter how bad you want something, you can want something so bad with all of your mind, body, and soul. But that does not mean that it is meant for you. And that's okay. When you learn that valuable lesson, that it doesn't matter how bad you want something, it might not be meant for you. That's when you have true peace in your life. Because let me tell you, seeing that dynamic outside, big picture, okay? Because I'm on the outside looking in now. Now I see what the relationship and what the dynamic would have been like if he had chosen me. I realized I was not meant for that. My gifts were not meant to be used and exploited like that. I have way too much self-worth. I have way too much self-respect and too much self-love to be used and exploited the way that that person is using and exploiting the person that was chosen that wasn't me. And I understand that I'm not meant for that. And that's okay. In that moment, I didn't know that, but now I do. So I want you to look back at a time where you really wanted something so bad. Okay. I'm going to use my bestie as an example. She was rejected into getting into her master's program. And it's something that still triggers her to this day, but it's something that really triggered her at the time. When she talks about it, I can see it, I can hear it, I can feel it. It's something that she wanted so bad. At one point in her life, her dream was to get her master's degree in the field that she was in, and it broke her heart when she got rejected. But little did she know she wasn't even going to use that degree anymore. Her life was meant for something completely else, and she is so much happier in the new field that she is in. But if she would have gotten her master's degree, not only would she had wasted more and more time not doing what she is meant to do, not following her true heart's desire, but she also would have been in more debt, or she would have had to pay right out of pocket. And she probably would be more upset the fact that she even got the damn master's degree in the first place. So there is times where you are going to want something so bad. If it's a guy, if it's a girl, if it's a job, if it's school, if it's whatever the case may be, there's going to be something that you want so bad in your life. But it might not be meant for you, and that's okay. You need to understand that what is meant for you will come to you. It'll call to you. It'll follow you easily, and not always trying to make it fit where it doesn't fit. Going a little bit back on the rejection thing, I want you guys to understand, because I think it's very important to separate your self-worth from anybody else. It does not matter who comes into your life or who exits your life. Your self-worth does not change. It doesn't change with who comes in your life and who exits your life. We need to start not allowing people's absences or people's presence in our lives to affect our self-worth or self-respect. Stop allowing the guy, the job, the school, the offer to dictate your self-worth, because it has nothing to do with your self-worth, but everything to do with their impact they would have had on your life. That is why rejection is a form of protection. That is why, because it had nothing ever to do when something it rejects you. It has nothing to do with your self-worth, but everything to do with how they would have impacted your life, good or bad. And that is truly the universe protecting you. When you are struggling with rejection as a form of protection, I want you to think of the universe as a parent, and you are an infant, a young child. Or think of the universe as a dog parent and you are a dog. I used my little dogs as an example earlier when I was telling my best friend about this. My dog Toby, love him with all of my heart, but he attacks himself, itches himself so bad that he can cause literal sores on his body because he just goes at it all day long and just be going crazy. And I will have to literally put a cone on him so he stops attacking himself, because if he does that, then he creates a sore. He can't even freaking walk because it hurts so bad. Then he guts to get a shot, guts to get antibiotics. It's this whole thing. But he doesn't understand that there's this danger on the other side of the door. All he wants to do is itch and itch and itch and itch and itch. So I have to put that cone on him to protect him. And that is a form of rejection, right? So I want you to look at the universe like that. The universe sees into the future. The universe sees what we don't see. It sees everything we don't see. The universe is in rooms that we're not in. The universe hears what we don't hear. The universe sees what we do not see. And because of all of that, it is rejecting. It is telling you no, because there's a bigger plan, because there's a bigger picture, because you're not supposed to be in those rooms, because maybe those rooms have people that are talking shit about you. Maybe those rooms are way too small for what you are meant for. Maybe you are meant for something way bigger. Maybe you are meant for something so much more grand than some little opportunity in your small town. Maybe you were meant to start your own business and be your own boss, and that's why the school kept rejecting you. Maybe you were meant for this amazing, big, beautiful love that guy could never give you. The universe sees everything that you do not see. It is rejecting you because it is protecting you. I have a little bit of homework for you guys to close out today's episode. I want you to take a look back at your life, okay? And I want you to be for real with yourself. Don't be negative now. I want you to actually think about a time in your life that the universe had rejected you for something, but it was actually a form of protection. Or when divine timing had to align in order for you to have something. Like, you know, when you've met a guy or you met this person long before and they didn't mean anything to you back then, but now the timing has aligned and you guys are best of friends, or you guys are in this amazing relationship, whatever the case may be. Think about that time. And I want you to remember that time for the rest of the week. Keep thinking about it. Think about other times that the universe has showed up for you when you haven't even realized, where it has rejected things from you. It has protected you from things that you didn't see were dangerous. And how many times the universe had to align things that you didn't realize needed alignment. I hope you guys really enjoyed today's episode. I hope you guys learned a lot, and I hope it really helped you guys reframe rejection. I know rejection is something that a lot of us struggle with. I think everybody has some type of rejection wound, and it feels really good to start looking at life from a different lens and start looking at rejection as protection, because once you start to think that way, y'all, you become unstoppable. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys next week on the next episode of the Bestie Talk podcast. Bye.